What is going on YouTube? Today what we'll be doing is kind of a follow-up to last video, which was a bit more for the whales out there. It was the best team in the game, but today we're going to look at an alternative for non-whales out there. Stay tuned, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so as usual on your screen you've got the details for the giveaways, so make sure that you're subscribed. It is for subscribers only. Make sure that you're going back to the old videos and make sure that you're always hitting the like button and commenting to answers to the questions I'll be asking you throughout the videos. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. So getting into this little clip here, basically I'm going to show you the kind of damage that each of these characters do. Essentially we're looking at the Holy Trinity for this video. This is the kind of brain dead team that doesn't require any kind of thinking. You know, one combo and you're basically almost one-shotting people. You know, it's the kind of team where you're taking advantage of Bardock here. So essentially his buff is a 30% damage inflicted when he's paired up with a Super Saiyan. So he gets 40% to own key recovery, -5 to his strike and blast arts card, and then obviously the damage buff. That's the meat of what buffs Bardock, and this is the meta that we're in, guys. The way you kind of maybe build a team in today's meta is you're going to work around these huge multipliers that will apply to your units, right? So you saw that on the movie team. You know, the reason why it's so strong and ahead of every other team is because of that 2000% Z ability, the Red Fury Broly giving out that damage buff and damage cut. Now Bardock does something similar. What he does for his buff is he gives 20% to damage inflicted for 15 timer counts, and he also increases your crit, so your crit rate and your crit damage. So that's why you're getting these huge numbers out of nowhere seemingly. And if we kind of look at the rest of the units here, we have Gogeta, that's no exception. If he lands a hit on you, you're probably dead between everything that he can do. Easily dispatches the Gogeta on the enemy team. And we're also going to look at the follow-up here as our poor Pycon gets caught being against a red unit rather. You know, not very lucky here, so he gets almost one shot by the blue card, and then it's an easy finish. But basically, the buffs that you're going to be getting let you do this with either Gogeta or the Super Saiyan Broly. So now, obviously, Gogeta, his self buffs do come into play as well, passing through that multiplier for the Super Saiyan Bardock. So him, as you know by now, the cards that he uses increases damage by 10%. So all that has been filtered through the Bardock buff. They're critting, they're doing all this nonsense, right? You've got also his, what's it called? Avenger's unique ability, where if anybody dies, he gets 20% to damage inflicted for each down ally. So it's just a bunch of multipliers essentially that's going to be applied to these characters. And now obviously Broly, so we're going to look at two clips here. One is Broly being in his base form, well, his base Super Saiyan form I guess you could say, before going Berserker, and you can see the kind of damage that he does while he's buffed with Bardock's buff, just taking out the enemy Broly here. Now when he does go Berserker mode though, you'll see that he pretty much deletes the blue Goku here from almost full health. That's 2 cards, 3 cards, and his ability. I mean, if he had a 4th card, it would have had the same result, obviously, but it's really that kind of gameplay that you're looking at. This is why they call it the Holy Trinity. They just buff each other as well as their self buffs. So for Broly, what he gets from his self buffs is if you take 5% to 35% damage, you do 20% more damage for 20 timer counts. If you take 35% more damage or more, you get 40% bonus damage. So that's why Broly is kind of just pay to win right now. There's nothing more to it. As far as his main ability, you also get a 20% to damage inflicted. All of this running through the Bardock buff. So now if you haven't caught on, the team consists of Bardock, Gogeta, and Broly. I mean, if you haven't seen this team yet, you probably aren't PvPing because it's literally everywhere, because it's the type of team where you don't have to think. There's no math involved. There's just, you start with your Bardock, you switch into the next tune, he one-shot somebody, that's it, right? You're not worried about Z abilities, you're not worrying about anything. They all bring something different. So you've got, what was it, the fusion tag, you bring the movie tag, you bring the Super Saiyan tag. The units that you can run with them, you have a couple of them here. So I've got you know, Hero Shallot there, you've got some Extremes there, you've got some Sparkings there. Super Saiyan 3 Goku is a very good pick. I did try running Super Saiyan 3 Goku with Shallot and the Raditz for just a ton of health and a double buff from Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and it's pretty hilarious because you're doing a bunch of damage, you have a bunch of health. Now obviously if you have been playing my Whale, that movie team, you're still going to find them squishy even if you do run the double health buffs. I mean, it's not comparable to having a Whale team plus, you know, all the Z abilities that were coming in, plus the damage cut from Fury Broly. It doesn't compare. This is second place team because of everything that's lacking on it. Now, somebody mentioned, actually a few of you mentioned in the last video, how'd you like me to start showing items that are important to the team? So looking at the Bardock, what I'll do is I'll list off the things that are essential, and you know, there's always kind of options that you can play around with depending on what you have. Now obviously the green damage cut from that first item being a must-have on blue units, period. And then our second item there being a must-have on Saiyans, just because you get all of that damage, you get the I believe it's crit and the key restore. Moving on to Gogeta, again, must have that item, and the other two slots are wide open, honestly. Personally, what I run is I just go for full-on damage. There's no sense in trying to max out your defenses or something like that. You're going to be squishy. That's how this team goes. You're a glass cannon team that goes in, you punch people in the face, they die. That's what you're looking for. So you can really fit anything that you have that has very high stats, fit those into those two empty slots, but make sure that you're running that first item. All Saiyans need to be running that goes just without saying. And as far as Broly, I mean, you should have gotten the free Z item there that you can kind of equip on Broly only, and of course the Saiyan item. And I think it's called You'll Pay. I would have to double check. But that's pretty much it for the review. Now obviously this is a short video just because I think this is the point where I go from defending the game and saying no, skill matters and it's not pay to win, and where I start to say, you know what guys, as of Broly's release, it has touched on pay to win, just because if you're not running Broly and a team that is essentially buffing his numbers, right? So whether it's Bardock or the Red Broly, you know, huge Z ability, stuff like that, you're basically at such a huge disadvantage. I mean, unless you completely outclass your opponents. You know, I see a lot of these videos out on YouTube of top players posting, oh, you know, I'm using some garbage team and beating Broly teams, and this is the Broly killing team. No, it's not. If they were fighting people of the same skill level, they would get destroyed. You know, it's just when you have a unit that can reset its vanish by literally going through your blast cards, that's not that's not a counterable unit by, you know, some Krillin or something. So if you haven't noticed my tone here, I'm a little bit I think disappointed in the game, just because it was doing well at attracting people, attracting money, and not letting it get too out of hand. It kind of started getting out of hand when they started adding the whole 5-star double bonuses. But even that was manageable, right? All it did is it kind of gave options to create different teams, right? So for example, the movie team before the Broly release was kind of something that people were thinking about, because, you know, PyCon was bringing the buff, and you had different options, right? Now it's literally just Broly or be at a disadvantage, just straight up. So that being said, I'm going to be probably looking at adding in, just squeezing in some extra game reviews outside of Dragon Ball Legends. Obviously, I'm going to continue with the Dragon Ball Legends content. Anytime there's something, I'm going to be dropping it, and the schedule will stay the same: Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But I will be probably mixing up a bit the games that we play on the channel. This is a gaming channel. As of right now, this is the main game that I play, but I'll be exploring, for example, Dokkan. I did say that eventually I was going to drop something on Dokkan, so for those of you who are excited about that, stay tuned for that. I'm going to also be looking at different games, such as I think it was Darkness Rises. which looked really cool, as well as a few others. When Diablo Immortal hits, I will definitely be playing that on this channel and seeing, is it worth it, right? Blizzard got a bunch of flack for making it mobile only, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, guys, your 2 questions for the giveaway. First one will be actually a kind of channel related question here. I was thinking of doing episode reviews when Dragon Ball Super starts up again. I believe in 2 weeks or so. I'm pretty sure it was mid-January that they said they were starting up on the 19th, somewhere abouts. So let me know if you were interested in some episode reviews. I've seen a few of them. It's very interesting to kind of be able to speculate as a community on where the show is going and so on and so forth. I personally like watching those, so I thought I would kind of talk to you guys about it, see what you think about having that as part of the channel. And the second question will be, how do you feel about the pay-to-win status? Do you think that this is becoming a pay-to-win game? I know a few of you do, a few of you don't, a few of you are whales as well, so you just feel like, hey, I'm having fun, I'm one-shotting people, right? How do you feel about the current payment status and unit status of the game? Let me know down in the comments. With that said, that's all I've got for you today. We will see you on Monday, where we will announce the winners for the giveaway. So do make sure that you are making your sub, you're going back to the other videos if you have not already, and dropping your answers to the questions on all of those videos so you have as many chances to win as possible. And yeah, guys, I'll see you on Monday. See ya.